Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all doing well, and I want to apologize in advance if my voice suddenly disappears or sounds really cranky. If you want, grab a cup of tea because it's probably gonna be a long video and we are in for some serious drama. Well, not that serious, but still a good amount. Anyways, even if you are a tiny little bit into fashion, then for the past couple days your Instagram and Twitter feed looked somewhat like this. Absolutely flooded with the news about Daniel Lee leaving Bottega Veneta after 4 years at the brand. And although his creative direction at the brand was very dubious since the very appointment, to say the least, the departure from the brand came really as a surprise, especially after the grand Detroit show only 2 weeks ago. And of course we did not receive a proper explanation. We received a press release from Kering which is very vague and doesn't really say why Daniel is leaving the brand or why is he fired, maybe, and mentioned nothing about the successor. So yes, there are a lot of speculations in these areas. For the time the video is recorded, that's the information that is available, and of course there are new developments about the situation literally every day. So yeah, just let me know in the comments whether it aged well. And also a little disclaimer, this video is very subjective, so if you enjoy Daniel Lee's time at Bottega, then I'm sorry. So the news about Daniel stepping down from his position as creative director at Bottega dropped on the evening of the 10th of November, and that to say that it was shocking would be such an understatement, because there was no talk, no rumors prior to it, and usually you do hear people talking. Nothing like that happened. And plus, Kering, again, they didn't release any proper press release. They did give vague explanation, just thanking Daniel for his work and saying that it's just time to part their ways, which is absolutely non-descriptive of the situation and explains nothing. But also there are other rumors, and from the interview that was conducted by WWD, some of the employees admitted, some of the creative employees at Bottega admitted that Daniel was difficult, to say the least, to work with, as although he was very creative and innovative with his designs, unfortunately he was unable to hear to anybody else's opinions. He was defined as uncommunicative and was creating toxic environment. And another source admitted that Daniel would ban old Bottega at the office and would force the employees, if they were to wear any Bottega pieces, wear only those that were designed by him, which, yes, if you have enough income to purchase, new season Bottega, new Bottega, that is actually radically different from old Bottega, then you could. But if you don't have enough disposable income, you are not allowed to wear the clothes of the brand that you work at. That is just ridiculous. And we'll actually get to this problem with Daniel's vision further, but the fact remains the same. A lot of employees were forced to leave and or took this decision themselves to avoid working in a toxic environment. And that's one of the main rumors why he was let go from the company. He didn't resign. But let's talk about actual clothes. So last show that was in Detroit, it was grand, and I love the location. It's the location of an abandoned theater in Detroit, and one of my favorite films was filmed there. It's called Only Lovers Left Alive. I loved the location, obviously. I felt very sentimental about it, but that collection is still haunting me at night, especially those bright neon colored rubber clogs. That's my sleeping paralysis demon. That's what he's wearing. I genuinely, I wouldn't surprise if Daniel legit was let go after that show, which is obviously he wasn't. I'm just being mean, but I would be surprised. After all, whether you like it or not, the designs that he was producing, they created a lot of hype around the brand, and unfortunately not via the most ethical methods. We all remember that Berlin party in the middle of pandemic. And truth being said, the clothing line was tremendously unsuccessful and brought only 7% in revenue, which is absolutely not much. Other 75% came from leather goods and 16% from shoes, which is understandable because Bottega is a leather brand. It's one of the brand signatures, as for many luxury brands. And despite all hype, the general value of the brand also didn't change much. Yes, there is like 4% increase like in the last quarter, but overall you can see that it is fluctuating at approximately the same level. So all the hype around the brand didn't really bring them any money. I'll have to say, from a professional experience as a person who works in PR and brand management, that I think his time at Bottega and everything that he's done to the brand will damage it in the long run, and here is why. In recent years, Daniel Lee indeed built a sort of momentum around the brand by disruptive marketing strategies like erasing Instagram account, which forced everyone to talk about Bottega, and secondly, staging all these shows in different locations like London, Berlin, and at last Detroit, which were really grand, and I bet they cost a lot of money, especially the last show in Detroit. But was it worth it? Bottega Veneta overall is known for being old money brand. It has never been terribly popular among the younger generations because it is mainly leather goods and shoes, and it's classic kind of designs, sharp cuts, muted colors. So it's not something that would attract, an average young person. Plus the price is really high. It's luxury brand. So Daniel, on the other hand, decided to market it to younger generation through the influencers, through creating pieces that would appeal to the younger generation. But I would say that his start at Bottega didn't really go that well. Before joining Bottega, he used to work at Celine with Phoebe Philo, and obviously their collaboration impacted his aesthetic vision. So his first few collections were clearly appealing to Phoebe Philo fans with minimalistic designs and oversized silhouettes. And on that, I really recommend you just to watch Tuba's video. She explains it really well. So after reproducing basically Phoebe's designs from old Celine at new Bottega, he apparently found his own voice. His aesthetic suddenly changed to industrial, something like if Virgil's designs and Jacquemus had a baby, not a healthy one. And although he started experimenting with fabrics like using latex finished lambskin, and his Detroit show, for example, featured pieces made out of cotton blended with metal, which created a bit of aggressive mood. And of course, he relies a lot on the trendy shoes, accessories, and bags, because that's what people mainly want from Bottega. But this sudden splash of creativity and change of creative direction from Daniel Lee, in my opinion, might have been the exact reason why he was a wrong fit for Bottega Veneta. The first thing that Daniel's done at the brand was scrapping its identity completely, masking such radical step as reinvention. However, instead of giving new Bottega a unique twist, he just turned it straight into old Celine and then radically changed into a line of short-lived trends. For instance, let's just remember Bottega padded mules that were on every single influencer's feed like 2-3 years ago, oversaturating the market to the point where nowadays it's almost a faux pas to wear them. Same goes for bright colored. shoes, green, orange, bags, or denim or sequin dresses. The main problem that it is not Bottega. Was what Daniel was doing was relying on sensational strategy of producing short-lived trends which would be bought very quickly but also will go out of trend the next season. Yes, one winter you might see everyone wearing Bottega chunky boots. The next winter nobody would buy them and nobody would wear their old ones because after the oversaturation it will become an anti-trend, which is logical according to the most basic graph of trend life. So instead of coining the identity of the brand and tapping into the original sources, he instead decided to go for straight profit. But we just have to understand that short-lived fashion equals fast fashion, and as quickly as it comes, it goes, and after he leaves the brand, there could be another designer and he will completely scrap Daniel Lee's Bottega and there will be new Bottega. Someone else will reinvent the brand and Daniel's designs will be just tossed aside, thus losing its value completely because the real fashion does not rely on trends. Let's say if you wear a vintage Gucci in 2021, you would look just as good and feel just as good if you were wearing it in the 90s when, for example, the collection was first released, because the item is carrying the DNA of a brand that is absolutely resistant to the change of times, because it carries this sparkle that makes you feel as a Gucci girl, boy, or non-binary person. But what does it mean to be a Bottega boy, girl, or non-binary person? Does it mean buying an overpriced pair of shoes that will go out of fashion the next season? There is a reason why luxury brands are loved by very specific audiences. For instance, one may like Gucci but never wear it simply because it does not align with their aesthetic, or completely adore Reiko Akubo's Comme des Garçons and wear it, but would everyone enjoy wearing it? No, absolutely not, because those are very niche aesthetics. And in my opinion, if the garment appeals to a very wide audience, it inevitably kills the creativity and turns into a short-lived trend, which is no good for fashion. And I think that the biggest problem with Daniel's Bottega, and I'm not talking now about the bags or the leather goods, I'm talking about the shoes and clothes, is that because they are based on short-lived trends and have nothing of the brand's actual DNA in them, they carry no narrative meaning to them. I think they would never become vintage. They will never become archival, if you want, because nobody would. They are a terrible investment because nobody would pay after 10 years more than what you bought it for, unlike with the other fashion brands. And of course, Daniel's time at Bottega wasn't all bad. For example, the collection from 2019, I really liked it because it was quite aligned with the house codes. It had a lot of beautiful leather, very nice cuts, but yes, it was very Phoebe Philo, but it was pretty collection. Then when he started bringing color and sequins into the brand, it could have been done, and it has been done before. For example, if we take a look at 2001 collection, sequins look great in 2001. These hot pink bodysuits in leather, my god, they look beautiful. My god, look at them and tell me that you don't imagine girls at Playboy Mansion wearing them. Don't forget, it's 2001, peak time of MTV. Of course, that was a great collection for its time. What Daniel apparently tried to repeat didn't really work in 2020, 2021. Perhaps good luck to him in a different brand. And talking about different brand, there are rumors of him going to Burberry, which I have no idea. They're just rumors, but we'll see where he ends up after. But what's more interesting is who's gonna be appointed as his successor at Bottega Veneta. So Kering is quite famous for promoting number twos to their brand, and there are speculations which I think could be very, very true. For Matthew Blasey to be promoted from his role as design director at Bottega Veneta to the creative director, and I genuinely think it would be a wonderful, absolutely wonderful fit. He used to work at Calvin Klein with Ralph Simmons. He also worked at Celine, and the most interesting part, he worked at Maison Martin Margiela for 4 years, and he was ultimately responsible for the artisanal couture line, which looks like this. And the one thing that I do know we love in fashion, no matter what brand, is deconstruction. And I can see his designs and his vision suit Bottega really well and fit into the whole aesthetic, appealing for both younger and older generations. So I personally do really have my fingers crossed for Matthew, and I hope that he gets appointed as a creative director at Bottega, because I really think he deserves it. But so let me know what you think. Who would be a perfect fit for the new Bottega? Thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to follow my Instagram, because I do post a lot of interesting stuff there, like photos and videos from the exhibitions and the information from books, fashion books that I read. So anyways, feel free to join me there, and see you in the next one. Bye.